morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of TesterSpeak, and I'm your host, Brijesh Dev. Today, with me, I have somebody who has been known to me for more than 2 years now. She is a prolific writer, very expressive, very outspoken, and has got very firm opinions. So, I thought it would be a great idea for her to share her ideas, thoughts, and opinions with all of us and share her knowledge. So, with great pride, I introduce to you my guest today, Aarti Kulkarni. Welcome, Aarti.
Hey, hi Brijesh. Thank you for inviting me.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. This is fantastic. So, finally, I'm getting to speak to you. It is
Yeah.
a privilege for me because I've been following your work for the past 2.5 years or so. And, I have been greatly inspired by your the way you express yourself. I mean, whether it is through a small post or through some comments, you're always, having very strong opinions, and I like the way you put it across, which is, calling
Yeah.
a spade, which is a very essential skill for a tester, and I am greatly inspired by that attitude of yours. So, yeah, thank you for inspiring me.
Yeah, I think it's my pleasure because I wasn't sure when I was doing this. I was following your work instead for 2.5, and you give me a lot of motivation to do that. So because I checked the post, your post, and many people I'm following, so I thought LinkedIn is the way where I can connect people like you, and I can learn from you. So that's my privilege.
Well,
That's
I think you know what, you are being very kind now. You're being, you're being really, really kind. But I'm happy that we have this opportunity to chat and share your views on testing and other topics. And let's get started. Uh, the first thing, of course, I would like to know is how did you get into testing?
So recently I revealed this in my one of the posts that I'm accidental tester, and so like many others, I passed out in 2014 and I was searching for a job, and in Pune I came to Pune and I was like I will try my luck. So here I understand few things, that your decision making helps you a lot. So when I was before I'm getting job and before coming to Pune, I was in home for 2 months around, and 1 month I just wasted my 1 month, and in 1 month I was just checking the job opportunities in the Naukri profile, and each and every job profile asked for Java and C sharp, and I was ENTC pass out. I don't know about. I just know the C++ little bit, and I was like, what I'm going to do. So I called my sister and tell him, in this 1 month I'm learning Java. I'm giving some local institute class, and I'm giving a short. I'm learning Java, so at least when I arrive in Pune, I will have something in my resume. So there I learned Java for 1 month, core Java, and then I come to the Pune. I don't know I'm going developer or I'm going tester, but I'm that much sure that I have to do only development or testing, because my sister told me that testing is a good option, good career option. She has many friends who's working as a tester. So I gave it thought, and then like I had one very bad interview in Pune. Then I thought I might be not a good candidate for it. But then one of my friend called me and she said, there is a one classes in Pune. They are teaching the free testing courses. And I was like, we are trying each and everything to get a job. Why don't we try this one as well? So we registered ourselves, we got invitation. And then we thought maybe one class is free, and then from second class, they will say the fees is like this and you like. So still we went, and that really, I was fortunate enough that class was completely free. So, and I learned a lot from that class. So that class held by Santosh Uttam Chintani, and he taught us so much. And then same, uh, I got one opportunity because of his class. I cracked it, and I become a QA that time. So that was my story to become a tester. I think I lost you, Brijesh.
Okay, no, you haven't.
Yeah,
My audio was muted, so
yeah,
uh, yeah, it's quite interesting that somebody was offering testing classes for
yeah,
free,
yeah,
which is very kind, a nice thing to do. In fact, any
yeah,
kind of classes for free is something that you do for the community, something
yeah.
that helps you learn, something that helps other people grow.
Mm.
I am always a fan of offering something to the community, and so that's quite an interesting journey. Tell me why, after learning Java, you were still inclined to get into testing.
Uh, there are few things also. I was having I wanted a job because of some priority issues. And then I thought if I'm getting a good, to be honest with you, I thought I'm getting a good package. It's good firm. And I will start my career as tester and then I will switch it to the developer. So that was my initial thought to it. And I started with that thought. But yeah, it changed. When I started working as a tester, I really used to like it, and I'm currently very much in testing. So then I thought, no, I don't. Even I got one chance when I was working with the Zycus. So all my closest friend in Zycus was completely Java developers. They are very good Java developers. So one of my friends suggested me, if you really want to go in development, I will help you, and you just have to give an interview and you have to prepare. I will tell you what to prepare and not. That time I thought, no, I'm currently being liking what I'm doing, and so that time I think I realized I really like being a tester, and I continued with that.
Well, yeah, that's nice that you chose to stick to
Yeah,
testing, even though there was the secret love for development somewhere. But yeah,
I have little bit,
yeah,
but yeah.
I can imagine that. And so, okay, testing. Now you got started with testing. So how did you get started with automation then?
That's, I think, my secret love for development comes in picture.
Yeah. I was coming to that.
When I got to know that we have the automation in picture, the same. I used to attend the classes that sir used to hold for free. So we used to go there and we used to help him. To do in the classes. So we used to become its good students. It might be, and we used to help him to arrange the classes and everything. So sir arranged one Selenium class as well because he's very good in being a tester. He's also very good in 3 languages. So he what basically what he taught me at that time taught us that being a tester, that doesn't mean you just have to test the UI. You have to understand the stack trace. You have to understand technologies so you can become a good tester. So that time he also encouraged us to learn languages, to understand the databases and everything. So he held the one Selenium class. I attended it because I love Java, because I loved Java back then. Then Selenium wasn't too tough for me. I understand it very quickly. And so I started, I never get opportunity to work completely in automation. So what I did instead, I decided not to depend on any opportunity. I take one website or a application of my company or anyone, and I started developing frameworks and automation suits for it, and I started using it for myself. And then one meeting I revealed to my manager that I'm doing this and it's completely helping me. I think from then I started, I introduced automation to myself and in my team. So yeah, and I think it's my secret love for development helped me
So
there.
that is quite interesting. So, do you think that is the path that other testers should also take if they want to sort of get into automation?
So to be honest with you, I got many calls, maybe from one of my friends. They refer me, ask her about testing and everything. So whenever people come and they have the same questions, we are stuck, we don't know what to do, and everyone is trying to learn Selenium this day. So I personally tell them these three things that if you want to learn automation, first learn the language, understand it. It's not like you have to directly jump in Selenium. And because many people directly jump in Selenium, they don't know how to write code in Java or any languages. So they got stuck into it. They thought, and then after days to days, they feel that uh, we are not into it or we are not capable to do it. So the basic step they forget that we have to learn the language first. And though I encourage them to learn the language first, then understand the Selenium, how it works. Don't rush into things. Understand the how Selenium works, and then take one simple application and start writing a simple script, and then go to into frameworks and everything. So don't jump, don't rush. So if they really wanted to do it, and another advice I give them, understand the testing first and understand the basic testing fundamentals, how to, because the first thing when you do automation is you write the test cases. Basically, basic funda we use generally. So many people, they just rush and they write one simple script and they think that. So I think where is assertions, where you verifying this stuff. So the basic funda is understanding the testing, why you wanted to automate, and what you wanted to automate. So understand testing, understand language, then understand Selenium, and then go deep into it. So that my basic, because yes, just 2 months back I got one call from one girl, and she asked me that many of my colleagues in office telling me that you have no future in 10 years being a tester. So why you are giving it a thought, change your career and everything. So she was so much uh, you know uh, she was asking me, they are really sure about it, we don't have any career in 10 years. I said, don't even think about it and don't listen to that rubbish. It's good. So I'm listening it from my colleagues as well, and I said, okay, we'll see what happens. So I motivated her, but that kind of stuff there in IT, some people are really thinks that way. So yeah. So,
Well, you sort of got me into the next question, which is something that I was anyways going to ask you, because it's quite interesting that when I started my career 20 years ago, people used to tell me, "Ha, testing, you guys will be gone in the next 5 years."
yeah.
20 years later, I'm still hearing the same thing, and 20 years from then, people will still keep on saying the same thing: "Ah, testing, no future."
Mm.
Well, it's the same story, right? Everybody hears that. So if your colleagues, or if the colleagues of that girl, they hear this interview, then they should know that it is because of testing that other things are
Yeah.
existing, right? If things are not tested, then other things will not exist, right? You need testing to be there. It is not like you develop and then you just release into the market. I want to ask those people, if the product that they buy, any product that they buy, the TV or the fridge or their phone, if they don't see that tested OK stamp behind that product, will they buy that? If I start
Yeah.
removing the tested OK stamp, will they still go ahead and buy that? Definitely not. So if you want tested product for yourself, then why don't you have faith in testing?
I think they are the same people who tell after development that this is ready for testing, and still they say that. it's not a good, you don't have any future. I have came across in such many statements in my career as well. So recently had happened that this, I'm doing one development task, and one guy told me that, oh, it's development task, why you are doing it? And I was like, okay, I didn't say anything. I learned it. I almost about to complete it, because my manager never assumed that you are a tester and you will not do this. So I had a free time, so he said, yeah, why don't you try this? So I think that's the best part about it. So I trust him, and then I said, once I complete this task, then we'll see that a tester will do it or not. So I think being a tester is more challenging than being a developer, because you have a lot of things in to you have to know the technologies, I believe, for being a tester. So whenever you are testing anything, you have to test it thoroughly. So if you know the technology, you can ask the questions related to technologies. So if my one of my developer friend encourage me, like, ask technology related questions in grooming, ask why you're using the Python there, ask why this layer is like that. So he said, your job starting from there, your job started being a tester, your job started there. You have to understand why they are designing the test, the stack trace like this. You have to understand it. So he encouraged me a lot. So I have two kind of people I work with. One who encouraged me being a tester and said, why, what if you are a tester, I will teach you Python. What if you are a tester, I will tell you how to start. At least I, whatever know I technology perspective, I will give it you. Otherwise you are doing good what you are doing. So I had people work experience like this, and I had experience like this who come, and who, when I ask them help, then they say that you are a tester, why you are doing it. So it's a mixed experience altogether.
Well,
So
well, that is there everywhere.
yeah.
For some reason, I am a little feeling a little too warm today. I don't know why, but uh, that's there everywhere. There are people who will encourage you, push you upwards, and then there are people who try to pull you down.
Yeah.
That's there. But then my question to you is: do you think this is more like a social stigma against testers, where people have these opinions that they've got, I don't know from where, that they feel that, oh, you are a tester, you can't do this. Oh, you are a tester, you have no future. Oh, you are a tester. I mean, the biggest one. Oh, you are a manual tester. You are gone. You're gone. You have no
Yeah.
future. I mean, these kind of things. Okay, these kind of things that people say. And then when you actually write about these, then there is this bunch of people who will come and say, "Ha, why are you talking about this? There is nothing like that. You are creating manual versus automation. You are creating a fight, developer versus tester." Well, what do you think? What do you have to say about that, Aarti?
It is very deep down, I will say. So uh, when I go to my hometown, where people, they don't even know about IT, they don't know about how we work, they comment about testing. What you do, you just test. And I got shocked, like, do you even know what we do? No, but they assume things that development is good, they develop the application. What you do, you just go and you just test. I had this experience 2 3 times. Then I realized that it's way deep than we thought. It's way deep that people have this mindset towards testing. And there are few testing people also responsible for this, because they listen to it and they got agree with it and they change their path. If they really wanted to achieve something different, they can do it, but that doesn't mean what they are doing, it's currently not good. So yeah, it's there, this stigma is there. And people, very people with very good career, there are might there, they believe in it. And if you tell them that you are functional tester, they will think, okay. And if you tell them that I have built this framework, I am doing it, that when they will like, oh, so you know the technologies. So I kind of, I don't like it. But when I see people, then what we can do. So I started that time, I started thinking like, being a tester, it's my job to highlight my work, to highlight it. Yeah, it's very important to do it. And even when someone from non-IT background tell me this, then I ask them, yeah, we'll say it and I will tell you what is testing. And if you still feel the same way, then I can't do anything. But at least my job is to think that this is completely misunderstanding about testing. And sometimes I used to feel bad back in days that I'm working hard in my testing. My company is not fool enough to give me good packages for being a tester. So why people feel that? Then I started realizing they don't know about it and they have just created one mindset towards it. So it's similar way. So in women in testing, I spoke about it's similar way the women feel in back 90s, 80s. So you are a woman, you can't do the big role in film, kind of this stuff. So this is the mindset people having, and it will change it will change by people like us by giving it more platform to understand.
I think you've hit the nail right on the head. It is okay. There are misconceptions that creep in. Okay,
Yeah.
if you talk about non-testers forming an opinion about testing and trying to project testing as some kind of a job or a non-existent job that people do. Now, it is generally propagated by non-testers or initiated by non-testers. But what keeps it fueling is that the testers themselves, they don't do anything about it. They
Yeah.
don't stop. Okay, when people project these misconceptions in public, there is not enough conversation about it. Nobody says, "Hey, no, you're not saying it right." Now, if you go to an engineering college, okay, you spoke about your hometown or places, secluded places where people do not know much about IT. But if you just go to engineering colleges where people know about IT, people are learning about IT, people are learning about software, people are learning development, people sort of learn about testing. Uh, I have got a big comment on that one, but people have an idea. But still, people feel if you ask the students, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to do development. Why? Because
Yeah.
development is great. Okay, why don't you want to do testing? Because it has got no future. It is very easy. Testers don't do anything. Um, Testers are paid very less. All sorts of things. Okay, testing is very is a simple thing. You're not creating anything. There is no creativity in it. So statements like this. Now, statements like this being spoken by engineering students who are job aspirants, who are future developers and testers, if they speak like this, which means that they are learning it from somewhere. They hear it, they form their opinions, and there is nobody who is stopping them. Okay, nobody who is stopping them. Nobody is saying, "Hey, what you're saying is not right. Hang on, you've got to learn and see what testing is all about." It's not, absolutely. What do you say? Something like, okay, it is something that anybody can do. You can ask a kid
Yeah.
to do testing. It's not. It doesn't happen like that. Yeah, kids can do testing. My son does it all the time. He's 2 years old. He
Hmm.
will take he will take a toy and he'll go on banging it till it breaks. That's one type of testing, definitely. Yeah, and he's so persistent that even after he breaks, he'll see if it breaks even further. So yeah, there is testing, but if you ask
Yeah.
him that if it is already broken, what's the point in breaking it again? He'll just laugh at you. Okay, so you're getting what I'm trying to say, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
so it is that kind of a thing that anybody can test. Yeah, I can see that my 2-year-old son can test, but can he test well? But probably yes. If I tell him that okay, at this point you've got to stop and you know that okay, this is what it takes to break the software. Okay, or this is the maximum amount of stress uh, a software can take that it breaks. Beyond this, We know that it's broken, but we have to kind of fix it till this limit, see if it works better. Okay, so or try to make it more robust, try to make the material such that it doesn't break, so use unbreakable plastic, maybe something like that. Okay, or make some unbreakable material that covers the toy so that it doesn't break. We start thinking like that, but explaining that to a 2-year-old is a difficult thing, right? So
Yeah.
it's something like that. I mean, people who are not testers sometimes behave like 2-year-olds. They
Yeah.
pretend that they don't understand anything, and they talk about subjects like testing. So uh, I'm I don't want to use the word, but I still go ahead and use it so frivolously that they feel that okay, testing is some kind of a job, anybody can do it, no big deal kind of a thing. But I'm glad that you spoke about this. Now, I want to ask you something. Okay, so
Mm.
you're working as an SDET. Okay, so we've had a lot of chat about SDETs in our
Yeah, I read those.
in our TTC group recently. Okay, so what does an SDET do actually?
So there are two ways I will put it in. So estate is a title. So in my company, every tester is a estate. Okay. So they expect being an engineer in testing from us, and I think every test position except the same from the testers. So in my perspective, it's a title that my company gave to me, that you are estate in my company. So, but people think that estate is the position where they do development in testing, and they help that they prepare, they like they develop something to help the testing more. So my company has a similar expectation from SDET, but if you see, all testers in my company have the same title as a SDET. So it's just a title, I feel, because when I started, testing, I will be honest, and I wanted to become a SDET because I had that, similar mindset in me that told me that SDET is the position where you do the development for the testing. And so the day I started working as a SDET, I clarify all this, thoughts in me, and that like, I think SDET is a similar person as a tester. She is a tester only, and it's a title just that every company decide for his tester. That few call it QC, if you call it QA, if you call it SDET. So for me, right now, SDET is a similar title. Little bit more exposure to the development I am having right now, I agree, but it's in the end, it's a title.
So SDET or an automation QA engineer, which one do you prefer?
I will prefer SDET because I wanted to become a SDET, but automation QA, I don't know. I never been a complete automation QA in my whole career. I am always been half-half. So
So do you
I'm
okay? So
SDET.
do you think SDET is half-half? Actually, this is interesting.
Currently I don't know how other companies is taking SDET as, but currently what I'm working is I'm also testing the product what I'm having in hand. So if I'm testing that product as well, I'm not completely full into, but I'm also developing the scripts which is helping to test that product, but I'm doing some tasks by myself to test the application. I'm testing it as well. So it's a mixed role I'm doing, and so if that is a SDET, then it's a half for me right now.
Well, actually, you've been saying this, and which is actually, in my opinion, the true interpretation of an SDET. Okay, so SDET historically was started by Microsoft. Okay,
Mhm.
Microsoft started this term, and they had the exact same idea that people develop
Mm.
code for
Mm.
testing to be done
Mm.
better. So a development engineer, when
Yeah.
when he or she writes some code for
Mm.
testers, then
Yeah. Those missed it.
so that you can do better testing, because as testers you may know the concepts of asserts and things like that, but you may not do
Mm.
that well. But from a
Yeah.
development perspective, if you come and say, okay, this is the place where you've got to have an assert. Okay,
Yeah.
this is the piece of code which will help you analyze this, the product better, or this is the code, this is the piece of code should quickly generate some data for you to test. Okay, so things like that. So these are some quick
Yeah.
things that SDETs are capable of doing, and that was how it started. But then people saw from different companies, they saw, oh, SDET, that seems like fancy. That is a nice title. We will also call our people SDETs. Okay,
Yeah.
and it started, and interpretations were lost. Okay, then they went on, and some people said, oh, we want uh, QA automation engineers. Okay, first of all, I
Yeah.
don't understand what QA is. I'm being very candid, but honestly, if you go my LinkedIn post, I keep on saying this. I do not
Yeah.
know what QA is. Okay, QA could be anything in my opinion. QA could be a quality analyst if Q stands for quality. If I'm assuming that Q stands for quality. If Q stands for quality, it can be quality analyst, quality advocate, quality assistant,
Assurance.
the assurance, whatever. Okay, it has got so many interpretations. If you just call somebody QA, it leaves people to imagine, okay, what QA could actually be. Okay, sometimes I say, oh, QA is actually quick action. You want to pick something, you want to do it, you get a QA. Okay, so, so that's my interpretation. I know the statement is going to become controversial if this go out, if this video goes out. A lot of people with QA in their title are going to beat me up. But that's my personal opinion. Okay, because I feel that as testers, we are not responsible for assuring quality. We can assess quality and we can tell them. We can tell people who are responsible for assuring quality is everybody. Okay, when I say everybody, it is testers, developers, product owners, architects, stakeholders, everybody. When you say
Yeah.
quality assurance, it comes from everybody. That you assure quality in a product. Okay, so just by calling a tester as a QA, well, that's that's of
I,
course.
I, I I got one thought that gatekeepers. I recently read that book of Buddha in testing. So I really like that concept of gatekeeper. So it's like you don't have to miss anything. So people who think that testers are not doing anything, they started believing that tester is doing something when they miss work, and they say, "Oh, he didn't do anything. He missed the work." So that blame game I really hate. So when team started this between them, it's not a teamwork. So I worked in the teamwork, so I have the tremendous value towards it. So
Well,
I
I usually have my copy of Buddha in testing with me, but
yeah
it's probably by my bedside right now because last night I was reading it again for probably the 50th time. Okay, I read it every now and then. It's like a refresher for me every time. I've read it so many times, and
it's
I
very good.
really like that book. Uh,
It's very lightweight and you can read it easily. So I find it very interesting. So
yeah, you know my the thing with Buddha in testing. So when Pradeep made this announcement that he's written this book,
yeah,
and the day it released, I immediately went to Amazon and I said, okay, so hard copy, if I want to buy, it will take at least 2 days to reach me. Okay, because that time in the Netherlands, if you wanted to get that book, it take you 2 days. And I was like, no, I can't waste 2 days. Right. Now. Okay, so I went and got the Kindle version. And once I got the Kindle version, I made sure that all my devices with Kindle had that book.
Mm.
So I seeked up the library. I said, okay, it is there
Mm.
everywhere. So if I have the phone with me, I can read. And I started reading it, and I read it continuously, and I finished the whole book in 3.5 hours. Okay, it's the first time in my life that I did. Uh, I read it, and I read it once, and
Right.
wow, it's like it just opened my mind up to a lot of things, and I was like, wow, this was so refreshing. I have to read it again, but this time I'll read it slowly. Then I read it at a slower pace, and I read it over the next day or so. Again, slowly digesting every piece of information, processing everything, and so I was like, now I am a lot more calmer. I feel a lot lighter as a tester, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not guilty of so many things that I used to think that I am guilty of. And that way, that book has changed my perspective. And then of
Yeah.
course, I ordered the hard copy also, on that very day, and it arrived a couple of days later. So then I always had the access to the hard copy or to the soft copy whenever I wanted. So I have been switching between the two and reading it, and I have kept it as new as it can be. And I only wish I could have Pradeep's signature on it. Maybe maybe when I meet him, I'm going to give that copy of the book to him and say, Pradeep, please sign it for me. I'm going to do that. It is such a
That
fantastic book. So, guys, if you're wondering which book we are talking about, it is Buddha in Testing by
good answers.
Question. Uh,
It helped me a lot as well.
yeah. Please go ahead and get a hold of that book. It is an excellent book, very lightweight, uh, must read for testers.
It is.
Before I read that book, out of all the testing books, lessons learned in software testing by James Watt, uh, you know, Ken Kainer and Brett Petticoat was my favorite testing book. That is also an excellent book. That used to be my favorite. But then this book came, and suddenly lessons learned in software testing has become my second favorite. Buddha in testing has taken spot. So well, that is how it stands, and it is a good habit to keep reading as testers. Now, Aarti, that brings me to my next question. I have always been a fan of your writing work. What inspires you to write?
I generally write, like the writing. So I used to keep my diary with me and I used to write my thoughts to into it. So since I'm 10, I have that diaries with me now. So now phone comes, so we usually write in phone sometimes. So when I started, when I write my first post in LinkedIn, I was completely nervous. I thought maybe, people told me that it's a professional platform and you have to be careful in it. And then, so I kept it like, okay. And then I thought, whatever it is, whatever will be the consequences, what will happen most? People will not like my post. And if they don't like it constantly, I will say, okay, I'm not doing good. So that time I started writing the post, and luckily I got inspired from many of us. And then I wrote the poems in Marathi for
Yeah.
me, but I had very bad habits that I don't maintain them properly. I just write in piece of paper whenever I find it. I go to Nilesh and I read it whoever around me, and then I lost it. So I have very bad habit, but I like to write poems, little, small shairis and everything.
It's
So
not a bad
then,
habit. It's not a bad habit. The bad habit is
yeah.
to share it. You know,
So,
that's the bad habit. If you're writing it, please
yes.
share it.
So when I started writing, then I thought, why I had so much in me about testing in that period, because I really don't like what people is saying about testing. So I thought, why don't we give a shot, and why don't I express my thought on the LinkedIn as well? So once I started, I just like, okay, well, I can do it at least. And
Well, no, I think you're very expressive when it comes to writing, and I've seen your work. Okay, I've seen that some of your posts have been a little controversial, but some people have jumped and said, Aarti, why? So this happens with me all the time. Well, my posts are all, oh, always there is something that's going on, and I kind of enjoy that because that gives me an opportunity to learn different perspectives. Okay, I don't say that okay what I'm saying is the absolute truth and you must follow that.
Yeah.
Okay, because I firmly believe that nobody has the money. Okay, what you are saying may be right in your context, what I'm
Yeah.
saying may be right in my context. Okay, so until and unless we say that our contexts are the same, then you cannot just judge somebody. And that's the way even I started looking at your post, and I was like, wow, this girl, when she's saying something, she is making sure that she's expressing her opinion in a way which makes you think. And when somebody's writing makes you think, we just spoke about Pradeep's book. I mean, the
Yeah.
book actually makes you think when you read it. You know, uh, not just the book, but when you read a post from Pradeep, you actually start thinking, like, hey, well, wait a minute, I used to think like that, but this is a good perspective to it, right?
Yeah.
You're not saying that okay, maybe sometimes you'll agree with the post, sometimes you'll not agree with the post, and it is okay if you don't agree. It's fine. Okay, it's not that you have to, you know, take a pair of boxing gloves and say, "Oh, now come on, Let, let's fight it out." It doesn't happen like that. And with your post, I have seen that, and I have, like I said, I've been following your work, and obviously one of the things that I noticed in LinkedIn is when you started writing, you used to be a frequent writer, then the pace kind of decreased.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That happens.
then I think we had a chat as well, and you told me no,
Yeah.
get back to writing. I remember that, and it's good to see you back in the mix of things, but you need to do it more often because
Yeah.
I think you have got very good writing skills. It's just that
Thank you.
the more you write, the better you get at it. It's as
Actually.
simple as that, and like like we've seen during the course of this interview, you have good opinions about things, which is, and you're very expressive, and it helps. You know, when you tell people that okay, this is what you think about it, and
Yeah.
especially the younger generation which is coming up now. Okay,
Yep.
when they see your work or when they read something that you've written, then they will find a source of inspiration.
Yeah.
And
So that was my thought initially when you said that in college people don't fancy testing much. So I always thought that we had responsibility to come and to tell them and to inspire them. So in the generation ahead, so I always remember that each actor who comes in Bollywood, they tell us, oh, we inspired by Shah Rukh Khan. You know, we always wanted to become a Shah Rukh Khan. So I said, why? Why they wanted to become actor? Because Shah Rukh Khan. Because he inspired them. He told them. So it's the best way we can do for testing, that we can make them think that when I saw you, your post, Pradeep's post, or many of them, I thought, oh, being a tester, we can be like them, So you guys inspired us, and then it's our job. We can inspire many of us. Like, so one of my colleague recently, she was so in depression because she missed one bug. So I told her that please don't do that. Okay, I have done that in past. I felt guilty by myself. I gave her idea to read the Buddha in testing, and I asked her to read it properly. And so you will understand it's okay if you miss bug. It's not an issue. Just make sure you will add test cases in next time. So that time is our responsibility to highlight our testing and give it what it, you know, we have to give it a good platform, and we have to highlight that it's very fancy to become a tester. If you in born, if you are a fighter, or if you are like what, I'm very stubborn in my house. So I think being a stubborn is very much helpful to being a tester, because till a date you don't get why it's not an issue. You will be like, oh no, tell me why it's not an issue. Then I will understand it. Then I will say it's not an issue. So yeah, so I think we as a, even there is another fact I will add to it. So in India, mostly, there are a lot of engineers it's passing out. And there are a lot of who are really passionate about civil, they go for civil. Who are really passionate about mechanical, they give to mechanical. There one stream is there, we called it ENTC. And those people are most misguided, I feel.
Electronic
And so
telecommunication. For those who are wondering what ENTC is.
yeah, actually, and then those people think, oh, we will work in India, at least I feel, the EXTC, ENTC, whatever you call it. So those people, those students are bright one, but misguided one. And I see many of them in testing right now. I have my friends and I am also. And I always wondered, even I shared that thought with someone, that I always wondered, testing is so lucky to have them in them, you know. If they started putting their thoughts to testing, they started to highlight testing. Testing is the most fanciest job will become in future, because they are very bright student, misguided one, but testing got them. So testing got lucky to have them, and they got lucky to have testing. So if they started to fancy testing very much, and then I think that misconception we discussed, that will, become less.
You know what? How I started looking at it. Back in the day, we did not. When I did my engineering, it was not electronics and telecommunication. It was electronics and communication.
Yeah.
Telecommunication used to be a separate subject altogether.
Yeah.
Separate branch of engineering altogether, and I did it from Bangalore University. Now Bangalore. Yeah. Engineering degrees are now given by VTU in Karnataka and not by other universities. So after I did my engineering, VTU was set up, Vishweshwaraya Technical University, and then all engineering degrees in Karnataka were issued by that university. Back in the day, I used to think, totally differently. My thought was, oh, computer engineer, what does he know? Okay, he knows only about a CPU. Maybe a little bit about connection between a CPU and a monitor and a keyboard. That's all he knows. Okay, that's what I used to think. And then I used to think, but an electronics engineer will know the electronics inside that CPU, the electronics inside that monitor, the electronics that inside the keyboard. That's what we would know. So we would know much more than what a computer engineer is. Okay, and then came this branch called IT, information technology, which was like software based or whatever runs. And I was like, oh, an electronics engineer, if he learns that, then he is a super engineer. That's what I used to think. Okay, and then after finishing my engineering, when I went for a software course, I was like, wow, I know software, so now I'm cool. I'm like super cool. and then after doing all of that, after about a year or so, I'm into testing, and I'm like, what just happened? Okay, so I did all that knowledge, and I'm doing testing. But 20 years later, now I feel so good about it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So you're absolutely right. I mean, what we call as ENTC or electronics and communication or electronics and telecommunication, whatever, they are indeed the most misguided sort of.
Because when I joined EXTC, I remember, it was highest cutoff at that time. If you wanted to get in EXTC.
It still is, I think. It still is.
And it still is. And we used to we are the highest cutoff people, We are and we know everything. We know communication side, we know the electronic side. And we used to criticize IT people. Oh, okay, IT, okay, IT. And then when we become a tester and that IT people become a developer, and it was like first thought at that time when we were young, then it's like, okay, something is different now. So because I always fancy embedded system, I really love that subject so much. I wanted to become an embedded engineer, because in my home there are 2 embedded engineers. So I always wanted to become an embedded engineer. I love the microcontroller and everything, and electronics people, and we'll have those subject in detail. So but there are some things happen and I become the tester, although I love being a tester. So I have the fancy embedded always. So I always used to explain people, you don't know how, you don't know how actually TV works, you know how AC works, there are chip coding, you know how the automatic car works. So I used to fancy those stuff, but now the path completely changed. And I'm a tester right now, and I love being a tester.
Well, I am very lucky that way, because when I came to the Netherlands and I started working with Sojiti, the business unit that I started working with was known as high tech. And when I went into high tech, I saw people doing embedded design.
Oh,
When I saw people doing things like PCB design, okay,
yeah,
pure electronics, and I was like,
yeah,
wow, this is cool. And then you have to test that. Okay, so it's not just software that you're testing. You're testing hardware. You're testing the combination of both. And then we are now the unit is called digital manufacturing, which is
yeah,
expanded its horizon. So we are into big data, IoT, and
yeah,
now now of course AI, machine learning, and things like that. And you imagine that all of that being on top of the electronics layer. So if you have to test the whole thing,
yeah,
then you have to test it every aspect of it. And so it is very interesting for me. And that way I consider myself very lucky right
yeah,
now that I'm getting an exposure to this, and that love for electronics is not lost. Okay,
yeah.
it's still there. You can be a tester, but you can still do that. So I understand where you're coming from. So are you the person who always has a screwdriver in hand, and you open every transistor or radio and see what is inside? Are you that kind of a person?
No, not that much. But when I started learning microcontroller and everything, when we used to build one robot to get into one competition, that time I think I started loving that much. So we built one cute robot, and so one of my friend is very good in electronics. I think I'm not that good, but I learned very much from him. So we built one small robot, cute robot. You don't know, I kept it in my home. It's still in my home. I was like, it's my favorite robot. It's my first robot. So that time I think I started, enjoying this electronic more, this all this stuff. But initially I wasn't that. I always confused person in my childhood. That one day I wanted to become a doctor, one day I wanted to become engineer, one day I wanted to become something else. Recently I started enjoying. I wanted to become aeronautic engineer, and then I again changed in 10th. After 10th I wanted to become a pilot. Then somebody come and told me, you have a number, you will not qualified as a pilot. And then I got like, oh, I have to change my career again. I was like that person. So my father used to tell me, decide one thing, I will not force you, so decide one thing, at least till the graduation you will decide what you wanted to do. And then I was like, okay, I will become an engineer, electricity engineer. And then again I learned electronics. But currently I think I am lucky, so I know what I'm doing at least, and I'm enjoying it. And finally, I wasn't sure in childhood I will become a tester, so but I am currently liking it, and so I'm enjoying it. So I'm in childhood I was really confused. So many times my dad used to tell people, oh, she wanted to become aeronautical engineer. And I used to like, why is telling it? Might change my path in the next 2 years. I wanted to become a pilot. So then he started looking at me and he's like, I'm not going to tell anyone that what you wanted to become. So yeah, that's the story. And I also have the secret habit. I like advertisement a lot. So I don't know, maybe in 10, 20 years you can see. I wanted to become an advert. I find it very creative right now. So yeah, I'm always confused. But right now I'm a tester, and I'm a hardcore tester.
So you share a lot of things with me. I mean, I like
Yeah,
writing, you like writing. I'm an electronics engineer, you are an electronics engineer. I'm a tester, you are a tester. I have this secret love for advertising. You have that secret love for advertising. Okay. I have always been fascinated by the world of
Yeah.
advertising.
Yeah.
So much so, I mean, not just the ad part of it. For me, it is how the ad works and how
Yeah.
it changes the psyche of the people. And, so I used to, at one point, I did not know that there is a lot of analytics that goes into all this. Okay. I had no
Yeah.
clue. I used to sit at home and watch and count. I had this notebook where I used to write, okay, this ad appears between this time and this time, and appears so many times. Okay, so during a
Yeah.
cricket match, this ad appears so many times, and I used to note the time. Okay, this is the time now, and it is a 15-second ad, or a 30-second ad, or a 23-second ad, or whatever. Sometimes they cut it and whatever. So, and then I used to think, okay, so with this, then I used to try and find out, okay, if the sale of the product being advertised has increased, and do really
Yeah.
people buy so much?
Hmm.
And I started learning, and did my own research, talking to people and reading through newspapers and articles and things like that. And I found that very fascinating. But engineering and things like that, they
Yeah.
and then work that kept me busy. But I still have that secret love.
I
So,
do have.
so if anybody is out there looking for hiring somebody for analyzing their story, well, please hire me.
Actually, there was a one ad used to come, a Fevicol ad, and I used to watch that ad, and I used to love that ad. It's very interesting, and I loved all the Fevicol ads.
Oh yeah, oh they
I used to think, yeah, there's so much creative people. In 30 seconds, they have that huge impact on people. People will not avoid their ads. People will love their ads. People buy the Fevicols. So I used to, that ad inspired me. That ad created that secret love for testing, and for advertisement. And whenever I am thinking, I thought that it's very interesting to sell simple thing in 30 seconds with that impact. So then I started, liking, still a date I like advertisement, and I always just, oh, this ad is very good, this is not. So when I see poor ad, I like, oh, no, the Happy Dent ad used to be there. And I used to like, how he directed that ad. I even listened his interview somewhere, and I got really inspired by his work. And so that thing, I read lot of biographies. I watched lot of interviews, and I really got inspired by people who are completely different and doing something different. So the Fevicol ad did that to me. Till now, I watch that. So yeah, so that's where secret love for advertisement comes. So many people suggested why you're not doing the post graduation, and why you're only doing. So many people suggested do MBA, do this. So I thought being engineer is completely not complete choice. I just, oh, I will do engineering. But post graduation, I wanted to decide by myself that what I wanted to do in post graduation. So I say people, okay, I am not ready for post graduation. When I see I wanted to do post graduation, I should must aware about, oh, I like this and I wanted to do post graduation.
maybe something in maybe something in mass media or advertising.
Yeah, I'm thinking that way only. So I
Yeah.
like, okay, because everyone has that point where they love something.
Yeah.
That we call ad was advertisement for me. It's like, very good. So
Yeah, no,
that,
that thought has crossed my mind also. Uh,
yeah,
but I after many years of passing my engineering, I did my MBA, and that was because again it was because not because I wanted it, but because my mom wanted it. Okay, my mom always thought that I should do an MBA
yeah,
because obviously it looks pretty cool. You know? So But then I went ahead and did it, and I said, wow, it is indeed cool. It feels nice to know the subjects. It feels nice to know about business administration and things like that. And one small bit of it all was advertising. Okay,
Yeah.
that was one small chunk in my MBA thing where I will be studied. I think it was just a module or whatever, but then that is still there. That is stuck in my head. So maybe I'll study something someday.
Yeah.
Well, we've been chatting for quite a while, so I
Yeah.
might now going to turn my attention to uh, the new section which I have started. Somebody is trying to call me at this hour so early in the morning. I don't know who it could be, but we'll see later. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have a rapid fire round with you. I'll ask you 5 questions.
Okay.
Okay, and you have not more than 5 seconds for the answers. Okay?
Okay.
In questions where you have multiple choice, you have to give reason for your choice. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, let me begin. First question for you. What's your favorite food?
Rice.
With right?
Rice with anything. I am very rice lover. So whenever I used to diet, they say that quit rice, and I was like, I will quit everything if you give me chance to eat rice. So whenever I'm hungry, because I am a food lover, I love food, but whenever you're really hungry, you crave for one thing, and I crave for rice with
Oh,
milk, with anything. I love rice. I'm a rice person, so I will become very good South Indian. But I love rice. So
well, rice is pretty common in the south, in the southern part of India, and also in
yeah,
the eastern part of India. So yeah, we come from a rice eaters region where rice is quite popular. So okay, cool. That's interesting to know. Okay, so choice here, multiple choice:
yeah.
Marathi cinema or Hindi cinema.
Marathi cinema.
Who's your favorite actor?
I don't have favorite actor because I like everyone in different film
Okay.
in Marathi.
So what's your
But I admired Ashok Saraf so very much in Marathi,
oh yeah.
and yeah, so I used to like his work. He's very, and then in Hindi I love Rajkumar Rao, and
Okay.
yeah, I'm very. When people don't used to know him, I used to admire him. Like uh, I have that habit, and then I used to think he is very good actor. You have to must watch him. Is very good actor, and then because we have habit, we only love the Dhamaka movies. So when Stree comes and this comes, people used to admire Rajkumar Rao works, and then I used to tell him, I tell you. No, I told you so. He's very good actor. So I really admired him. I watch his movies. I watch his all the interviews, and I admired him a lot. So currently, Rajkumar Rao and Ashok Saraf might be in Marathi.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next question: what's your favorite testing book?
Testing book.
Testing. Okay, yeah, testing book.
Oh, okay. I haven't read much, so be honest. I read the recent testing book, it's Buddha and Testing. But Buddha and Testing plus, I read one article of Pradeep recently that is about regression testing, and I really, really liked it. I can relate to it very much. I explained bit by bit to my people. So how he explained regression testing in it. So I think that is one of the recent testing book.
Yeah. So if people are wondering which article Aarti is talking about, I'm going
Uh,
to put the link of that article in the
yeah.
description box of this video, so you can look at Pradeep's work. Pradeep, you are a big inspiration. If you are listening, uh, I've been a huge fan of yours for more than a
I am
decade.
too.
People like Aarti who have been following your work. So thank you
Yeah.
for being that inspiration. Thank you for all that you've done for testing.
Thank you.
You know, a big round of applause for Pradeep for
I will.
for for being the wonderful person that he is. Um, I am thinking of ways to getting him on my show, and let's see how that goes.
I was also waiting when Brijesh will announce that Pradeep is on his special feature
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, yeah. Something will happen. So something will happen soon. So not opening all my cards, not showing my cards
yeah.
right now. Anyways, moving on. So cricket or movies?
Cricket or movies? Uh, I think movies. But I love cricket as well.
That's
I
why I
watch.
asked you. That's why
Uh,
that's why I asked you. Why movies over cricket?
I don't know because I love to watch movies as well, and we have different kind of movies to watch. So sometimes movies are the ones who, recently I had you. I told you I wasn't well enough, so I went to doctor, and he said, I think you're thinking so much some in meanwhile, and that's why. So do one thing, watch one Govinda film in week. And I laughed so much. He said, "Yeah, that's what Govinda movie is. You don't have to think much. You have to just watch the movie." So sometimes movie will do this to you, and so I think that's why I chose movie. Although I am big cricket fan. So and cricket fan, being a cricket fan, I know we have a big misconception in that too. So whenever girls started watching cricket, oh, no, girl, you don't know anything. That happened with me. And I was like, okay, I will tell you each and everything in cricket, and then you have to admit that I know in cricket. Because I used to play cricket with my brothers. I used to play cricket with my friends. He used to go to the stadium to learn cricket. So he used to come and he used to teach me how to make a shot, front foot, back foot. So so I used to tell them that this is a misconception that girls don't like a cricket. Yeah, there are few girls, and there are few boys as well. They don't like cricket. So that's also there. Also, I'm very stubborn. So
That leads me to my next rapid fire question for you, and that is related
yeah,
to cricket. You said you
yeah.
can tell each and everything about cricket. So let me test
Oh,
my
okay.
knowledge. Okay,
Yeah,
what happens? What
yeah,
happens if
yeah,
your cap or your hat or your helmet? Okay,
yeah.
if when you're fielding, if you're wearing a cap or a hat or a helmet, if it touches the ball, what happens?
Okay. In helmet.
The ball touches your cap or your hat or your helmet or whatever. Sometimes when they're playing Test cricket, they keep the helmet behind the wicket keeper, right? And
Yeah,
what happens if the
yeah.
ball goes and hits the helmet?
I don't know. Sorry, I lost.
I got it.
How?
I got you there. Okay, you get 5 runs.
Yeah.
The batting team gets 5 runs.
Shit, I wasn't aware about it. I will go and I have to learn it.
Okay, so this
You
is
really got me there.
yeah. So this is one occasion when I am able to stump my guest. Otherwise, my guests usually stump me. So okay,
No, but this is the nice information I got today.
okay. The
This
last.
person will, yeah, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, when if anyone is next time will tell you, will tell me that, oh, you don't know that. I will ask them same question. What happens when this happens? And they will say, oh, I don't know. Then I got you.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good thing to ask. That's a very good thing to ask.
Actually.
So okay. So that brings me to my last rapid fire question for you.
Yeah.
If it's not Pune, then which other city would it be?
It's always Mumbai. So Pune is my not first choice. So
It's not your first choice, okay?
uh, I don't know if you trust in astrology or something,
I,
but I don't much trust in astrology. But my father used to trust in astrology. So when I started looking out for a job, he went to astrologer and asked me, she is looking for a job and what will happen. So then he told my dad that she will get her first job, her first best good job in other cities, not in Pune. Was like, what, this is rubbish. So but this happened true with me. I gave a lot of interviews in Pune, and I rejected in the last interviews in each and every uh, company. And then I got call from the Zycus in Mumbai, and I thought I will give it a shot, and I went to the Mumbai, and in first interview in Mumbai I got selected. So then I was 3 years almost in Mumbai, and I fell love in Mumbai. It's very passionate city. I have special place for Mumbai in my heart, and because I was getting married, and we used to have to settle down, and Pune was a practically very good option to live in. So we moved. Recently I moved to Pune. So Mumbai is a city which I will choose anytime.
well, Mumbai is my most beloved city.
Yeah.
Uh, I've lived a major chunk of my life in Bangalore, in India.
Yeah.
Uh, but I love Bangalore. It's not that I do. I have a home there. I live there. Brother lives there. And I did my schooling from Bangalore, so that's why it has a very soft spot. But then Mumbai changed my perspective towards city life and how things.
Yeah.
You know, going and having your favorite food at 2 a.m. can happen only in Mumbai because the city does not sleep. Okay, and you could walk next to the beach without worrying about anything. When it's pitch dark, it's like 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. Uh, you can just forget all your worries and take a walk along the beach. That happens only in Mumbai. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen anywhere else.
Anywhere else, and people will amaze you in Mumbai. So I used to, I many people inspired me there. So they used to travel a lot. They used to live in one room, and they used to be happy all the time. And coming from the T3 city of Maharashtra, and they're having a huge house and everything. And when I saw them, I was like, we have to learn lots from them. And they are very passionate people. Uh, and they always working. They always working. They don't do much laziness. They were like, okay, I have to catch this train. Then I have to, do this work. And so they always used to amaze me that how passionate they are. And we here, after doing one thing, we like, okay, we are done. So Mumbai amazed me in many ways, and it's one of them. Then I learned. I used to
Absolutely.
admire.
I completely agree with you. Life in Mumbai is like a clockwork.
Yeah,
Okay, that I have to catch the 8:46 a.m. local train. So it's
yeah,
programmed in your head. And if you reach the station at 8:47, train is gone. Okay, so then you have to wait for the next one, which is of course
yeah.
4 minutes later. But then that 4 minutes will make you miss the next mode of transport.
And Mumbai is so much easy for in transport. When you live in Mumbai, transport is so easy. You have so much option to reach some place, and it's completely opposite in Pune. It's completely opposite in Pune. So in that way, I always miss Mumbai. it's like I always use it. If I was in Mumbai, the auto will be here and I used to go there. So yeah, in that sense, in transport sense, I miss Mumbai a lot than Pune.
Yeah. If I compare transport in, well, of course, Pune is also one of my favorite cities. Uh, but Mumbai is number one in my list also.
Yeah.
Transport, of course, you are absolutely right. I mean, nothing compared to the transport.
Yeah. Pune is good in its own way.
Yeah, Pune, the food I just love.
Yeah.
It's different from Mumbai.
The best thing Pune done to me is like all my friends are in Pune. All my college friends and everyone is Pune. So that's is the best part of Pune, I feel. So, and Pune has a that Maharashtrian touch that I'm used to more. So that is you know part of good part of Pune. So many people don't know that in Maharashtra we teach a lot to Pune people. We teach a lot, like other part of Maharashtra. When someone say they are from native from Pune, then everyone started teasing them. Oh, it's typical Puneri language and typical this. So whenever I used to share a cab with many people, and they used to tell me, oh, Pune people has that habit. Then I used to tell him, don't worry, other part of Maharashtra feels the same for Pune people. So it's a fun part being in Pune.
Yeah. I know. I have had a few friendly banters with my friends. So yeah, it's all fun. So
Yeah.
okay, finally, I think we've been speaking for quite some time now.
Yeah.
So finally, I have this last question for you. So
Okay.
what does Aarti like to do when she's not testing?
I love reading and I love playing games. So uh, reading is, I'm not that reader that will take a book and finish in one day. I take my own time, but I read. So I'm very fancy about Harry Potter. If you come in my house, you will think everything related to Harry Potter. And so uh, when I was a child, I wanted to read all Harry Potter books, but I wasn't having any. And I used to go to library. I used to ask them when the book is, arriving or it's not gone. And so my dream was that time was when I will started earning, I will have all those books with me, and whenever I wanted to read whatever part, I will start reading. So I completed it. I have all the Harry Potter. People always tell me that why you're reading always Harry Potter. I mean, I'm not always reading Harry Potter. Whenever I feel, I just pick one book and I read the book. It's very typical, might be, but I'm a big fan of Harry
No, no,
Potter.
no, 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 no. It's
Yeah,
not typical. I'll tell you something. I have a very
yeah,
interesting story about it. I had a
yeah.
colleague named Aarti, okay, and she was a big Harry Potter fan. And in office, she would constantly be talking about Harry Potter. Okay, in the middle of a work day, she's speaking to her friend on phone, and she's talking about the book, and I'm like, what is going on? I mean, are you crazy? She's like, yeah, the new book has just come. You haven't read, and I think, no, I haven't read any Harry Potter book. And she's like, you are missing something really big, and I was like, okay, wow. So I can
Yeah,
relate to that kind of passion for Harry Potter, and having seen the Harry Potter films, I know what
I I I like books more. So whenever I saw a movie, I was like, they made it wrong. I think what movies does to the fan is they give a platform to visualize it more clearly, and they picked proper characters for the movie. So that's the best thing. But book is another level.
I
The
agree.
book is J.K. Rowling. That I thought she just nailed it. And
Yeah.
the book is the dialogues and everything is another level.
She
So
She did, yes.
When Fantastic Bits come, then I used to like, I wanted to watch the movie and no one was there to, go with me. So I was like, I went alone. I watched whole the movie, and I came, and then I discussed with my friend, uh, because unfortunately my husband is not that much of Harry Potter lover. So I go to Potterhead and her site, and I checked. There was you have to give a quiz, and then your house will be declared, which house you belongs to the Hogwarts. First I did, I got Hufflepuff. I was like, then again did, I got Gryffindor. Then again, I did it 3-4 times. My husband is like, you're cheating. You will have only one chance to get. I was like, whatever it is. So I created
What is your
4.
favorite house? You wanted your favorite house, and that's why you did 4 times.
Gryffindor is always fancies, but when I started actually reading 3-4 times, I admired Hufflepuff because I feel it's underrated, although it's very good house. So, and I have very Hufflepuff t-shirts and everything with me. So Gryffindor is there, but Hufflepuff has another place in my heart. So maybe Hufflepuff.
Well, so this episode is dedicated to all the Harry Potter lovers. Well, Aarti, no, I was going to ask you something about a book that you recently read and you wrote about it
Yeah.
on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so you've got some sort of a controversial remark on that book, or I think that's okay to sort of read and experience that book.
Uh, I think it's okay because many people come and they say it's good book, and I haven't completed it. It's a remaining, few chapters are pending. But till now, I read it and I was like, it's good to read. But I find it what he's explaining in that book is be what you are and accept it what you are.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and many times we forget to do that, and so some in one chapter I was wondering, he wrote it completely different way, but what is telling is similar thing, that accept what you are, and that accepting part sometimes comes it naturally, and sometimes you have to be very honest person by your side to tell you that accept what you are and be what you are. So yeah, that's, I haven't got any controversial, except that it's very funny that that book has very controversial word in it. In Maharashtra, many people take it very controversial in hometown, and my book is always here, uh, in my living room or here. So when people used to come, people used to read that and used to like, okay. So my husband is like, keep it with yourself, and Dad was like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah,
So
that's the reason why I did not mention the title of the book.
yeah.
Folks, if you see this interview, you have to go to Aarti's profile and check out the name of the book that she's reading. She has
Yeah.
got the cover on the thing, and then you will know what she's talking about. Now, talking about that book, I related when I read it, I was able to relate it to the testing profession. And the way I look at it is, as testers, when you accept yourselves the way that you are testers, that you have a
Yeah.
job to do, that you should call a spade, despite whatever happens. That is the exact message that the book gives, but in a very subtle manner. If you're
Yeah.
able to translate that and get that message into your profession, it'll make a huge difference. So I definitely recommend that book to people. Well,
Yeah.
I will of course give the link to Aarti's LinkedIn profile, but I will also give you a link to that book on Amazon to people who want to read it. Okay, so I'll give that description also to people.
Actually, that when I was in my professional way, I was in that mood, being a testing professional. Some things happened, and I was in that mood, and then that book comes, in Amazon, and I thought I haven't read this book, and I was like, I have to, read this book, and I ordered it. So when you relate it to the testing, I completely admit it. So yeah, and it's very helpful if you are being a tester, if you're thinking too much about your profile, it really help you, guide you in some way. So yeah.
Yeah, and that was a coincidence that I finished reading that book, and then 2 days later I opened Aartis Story, and she writes about that book. I was like,
Yeah.
it was a great coincidence. And well, anyways, thank you so much, Aarti, for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. Uh, I know we set out for 1 hour, but I think we have
Yeah.
way past that.
Yeah.
It was indeed a pleasure talking to you. You are so expressive, so open about things. Okay, keep that spirit going. Uh,
Yeah.
and you've given some wonderful messages to the younger lot of testers. So I would recommend those testers to come and watch your interview. You've been inspiring me and inspiring a lot of other testers. So keep doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep up all the fantastic work that you've been doing with the right more. Okay. The shairis that you write, please bring it out. We would like to read. Please make a book out
Yeah.
so that we read it. We'll be
Yeah.
happy to read that. So fantastic. Thank you so much for your time this
Yeah.
afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brijesh, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. Yeah, I'm really appreciated. So I wasn't sure I am the right, I am the right person for it. But thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm really appreciated.
You are a very kind person, Aarti, and very humble too. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll catch up on the test chat group.
Yeah, yeah. See you soon. Thank you.
All right. Bye
Have
bye.
a nice weekend. Bye.